Late 2009, 76-year-old Mary Kubalak gets a call on her phone. Thinking it was someone she knew, she answered, but it was then that her life would change forever. A female voice picked up, claiming to be someone from a big company, and told Mary that she had won millions of dollars. Of course, this made no sense, but once the woman started reading Mary her own personal information, Mary started to wonder if this was real. The woman would go on to tell her that if she wanted to claim the money, all she would need to do was pay a small fee of a couple $1,000s just to cover the fees of the transaction. A small price to pay for the millions she was about to win. But as Mary's mind was slowly starting to be convinced, little did she know that the woman she was talking to was in fact not a girl, but instead a 250-pound Jamaican man about to stumble upon his biggest payday.
I could not convince her, nobody could convince her.
She still believes it.
Like I said, she was skeptical initially as she obviously did not remember entering any competition. However, the person on the phone seemed to have an answer for everything. As Mary came to realize that the money was actually real, her mind froze and her heart started beating as she started to genuinely feel like her life was about to change. But before she got too excited and started asking questions, the caller of course knew that they needed to hurry up and finish the process.
Now, Miss Kubalak, before we proceed, I must inform you, this win is highly confidential until the delivery is completed.
Confidential?
Yes, ma'am. We've had situations where family members interfere with the claims. For your protection, do not discuss this with anyone, not even your bank.
She then proceeded to make great emphasis that if she told anyone about her prize, bad things could happen. And so Mary was fully committed to keeping it just between them. But of course, the prize could not come until the most important part.
Now listen, Mary, there's one thing I need you to do for me, okay?
What is it?
Due to the US regulations, winnings from international lotteries are subject to transfer and processing taxes.
So you're saying you need me to pay a fee?
Unfortunately, it is part of the process.
Alright then, how much?
Just a simple $3,500 to release the documentation and schedule the delivery.
Now of course, $3,500 is nothing to smile about. But remember, Mary is about to receive millions. So that is a small price to pay for a lifetime of financial freedom for not only herself but her grandchildren. And so it was after this that she was instructed to go to the nearest money transfer service and distribute the funds. But the caller made sure to be very specific about something. She absolutely had to use a service called Western Union because apparently it was the best service for this transaction. And so as she followed her instructions and input the money, the call came to a close and she eagerly awaited for her life to change. Days had passed by and Mary was on the edge of her seat. In this time, she had heard nothing from her bank or anyone for that matter and was just sitting in her house waiting for an update when suddenly her phone rang once again. Immediately, she sprinted to the phone and picked it up, hoping to God that it was who she thought it was. What if it was her grandchildren or some random salesman? But it was then that the person answered.
Hello, Miss Kubalak?
And once she heard the familiar voice, the biggest sigh of relief washed over her.
Hey, what happened? Is the money coming my way?
Oh, Mrs. Kubalak, I am so sorry to inform you. That's actually what I was calling about. You see, there's actually been a slight delay with the prize.
A delay? What do you mean by that?
Well, apparently the IRS flagged the transfer because of the amount, and so they're telling us that they're holding the funds hostage until we can pay $2,000 to clear the fees. It's truly unbelievable.
So you're telling me I have to pay $2,000 more just to get my money?
I know, this government is just
And so of course Mary was upset, but if this was the very last step to her money and she had already invested so much, then ultimately another $2,000 would be worth it in the end. And so she repeated the protocol once again and sent more money. And so the cycle began of every single time Mary was on the verge of collecting her funds, there would always be a reason why the prize would be delayed. And even though they kept facing obstacles, the caller was genuinely on her side trying to work with her and get past the evil government stopping her prize. Of course, after every payment, eventually she started to become discouraged. And this was when the caller would take the moment to let her know that that she was so close, and if she stops now, then that money would never see her account, and everything she invested would be for nothing. With their relationship even turning into guilt tripping, reminding Mary that she's been there with her every step of the way, and how cruel it would be to abandon the whole thing after she's worked so hard just to try to get her prize money. Mary genuinely thought this woman was on her side, trying to help her change her life, and eventually, as their relationship developed and the trust increased, a total of 6 months passed, and a grand total of over $370,000 had been sent, all for different reasons, yet none of them resulted in her prize money. Now, of course, Mary was explicitly told to never mention this to anyone. However, there was one person who was bound to find out either way, and that was her financial advisor. Just by taking one look at the situation, he immediately knew that she was being scammed. But Mary thought that that was preposterous. The woman on the phone was her friend, and so despite his relentless warnings, she continued to send her money. Of course, eventually he had enough, and that was when he put the hammer down and took his own client to court for her own personal safety.
I could not convince her. Nobody could convince her.
She still believes it.
It's a sad, tough case.
The psychological hold had sunk deep, and she was too far gone. Eventually, whether out of his own desperation to spread the story or pure luck, the news station NBC caught wind of this incident, and they decided to do a bit of investigating on their own to see if this quote-unquote lottery company was actually legit. But as they started to do some digging, they stumbled upon such a surprise that not even they could have imagined they were about to find out. After their deep and thorough investigations, they ended up taking the phone number used to contact Mary, and upon tracing it to find more information, they found connections to a random guy by the name of Chris Andre Dehaney. But that was strange because the person they were looking for was a woman, and so they decided to do the ultimate experiment. They were going to call the number themselves and see what happened, and that is exactly what they did. And as they dialed the number, even though it was a long shot, they hoped for the best, and to their surprise, the person actually picked up. It was then that they heard the voice that had been talking to Mary all this time, and they could not believe their ears.
If I had a way to take Mary $35,000, honestly to God, I would take it.
It was some random dude with a Jamaican accent pretending to be a woman. As you just saw in the clip, he continued to defend his innocence, swearing he had done nothing wrong. But NBC was not done with him just yet. They wanted him behind the bars, and so they decided to take it one step further. The ultimate step. They decided that they were going to go to Jamaica themselves and track down this scammer. And so they hopped on a plane and set out for their search. As much as they found his alleged address though, it appeared to be a dead end as he no longer lived there. But after it looked like all hope had been lost, the trail lit up once again when they finally were able to get his license plate and trace it to a new location. Instantly, they loaded up the car, and with another vehicle full of police, they headed down to the spot.
So we follow an unmarked police vehicle along hours of twisting, dangerous mountain roads.
Ever seen him before? So we've gone from the beginning of Armstrong Terrace to the end of Armstrong Terrace, and the best we can figure, this is 30 Armstrong Terrace. Another dead end.
Of course, they were chopped yet again. But the quest was not yet over, and as they searched even harder for his whereabouts, they ended up finding his old place of employment, a random store in Montego Bay. It took them hours to drive to reach up there from Kingston, and eventually they reached St. James. But unfortunately, once they headed down there and started asking questions, not a single one of the current employees knew anything about his whereabouts, or if they did, they were not saying. The search was looking bleak, and it was looking less likely that they were going to find this mystery man. But that's when they had an idea.
Without an address,
Hey, it's Jeff Burnside again.
we resort to contacting Dehaney directly, even though it tips him off that we're here.
Well, don't expect him to call us back, but it's certainly worth one last try.
As stupid as this might have seemed, surprisingly it actually worked, and he literally called them back.
Then suddenly he calls.
I know exactly what is going on in Jamaica with lottery scammer.
I think your name is Chris Andres Duhaney. I think you took $370,000 from Mary Kubalak.
I've never spoken with Mary before. I've never seen you before. I've never even been to America before. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just wasting my time here with you.
His words are vulgar and taunting. He implies he'll shoot me between the eyes.
But despite the threat, this brave Caucasian soldier still decided to go after the man of mystery, even if it meant following him all the way to the ends of the earth, or even worse, Tivoli Gardens.
Why don't we come to your doorstep? If want to deny all this at the time, then that'll be your opportunity.
He agrees to meet us in 6 hours in Kingston. We are to meet in Tivoli Garden.
This is the address he sent us to, 2222 Tivoli Garden. It's a housing project. It doesn't look like it's a genuine address.
And as much as this white man probably had no idea just how much danger he was in this moment, fortunately for him, it did not go as expected. And of course, Chris was one step ahead yet again. But that man was lucky, because if some dude tells you to come to a random address in Tivoli Gardens for a quote-unquote meeting and you go completely unarmed and looking like a skull, well, I don't need to tell you what might happen next. So let's just be glad for the both of their sakes that nobody was actually there. And once this final attempt had failed, the operation was officially declared over and Chris had successfully evaded not only the American police and also the news, but he ran off into the Jamaican sunset $370,000 richer. And to be honest, based on my research, I could not find any records of his arrest, which means I can only assume that he's still walking free to this day, burning a Marquette somewhere on a toll with 3 mucks in the back seat. But to be fair, this was 12 years ago, so maybe he simply retired from the game and kept a low profile. But somebody who didn't keep a low profile though was this kid, who in the span of one phone call used the most skilled method I have ever seen to steal over $230 million from an extremely rich client in just one night. And if you want to learn how he did that, click the video on your screen right now. Of course, do not try anything in this video at home, and as always, this case has been decoded.